In the spring of 1901, a group of Greek sponge divers seeking shelter from a fierce storm dropped anchor off the remote island of Antikythera. What they found beneath the surface wasn't just a Roman shipwreck, it was a graveyard of ancient treasures. Statues, jewelry, and coins littered the seafloor. But tucked away among the spectacular marble and bronze art was a corroded, calcified lump of rock. At first, it looked like debris. It was cast aside and ignored for months. But as the wood dried and crumbled, a flash of green caught an archaeologist's eye. Inside the rock were gears, tiny, precision-cut bronze gears. Historians were horrified. According to our timelines, technology like this wasn't supposed to exist for another 1,000 years. This is the story of the Antikythera Mechanism, a machine born 2 millennia too early.
For decades, the object remained a frustrating enigma. How could a society utilizing primitive tools build something so mechanically dense? It wasn't until the late 20th and early 21st centuries when scientists bombarded the fragments with advanced X-ray imaging and 3D microtomography that the truth finally unfolded. Inside this shoebox-sized wooden case were more than 30 interlocking bronze gears. It wasn't a clock, and it wasn't a weapon. It was the world's very first analog computer. By turning a single hand crank on the side, the user could instantly calculate the movements of the cosmos. The front dial tracked the sun and moon through the zodiac, even showing the exact phase of the moon on any given day. But it went further. The back dials tracked incredibly complex, multi-decade astronomical cycles, like the Metonic cycle. It could predict solar and lunar eclipses down to the precise hour, and it even acted as a community calendar, mechanically counting down the 4-year cycle to the ancient Olympic Games. To understand why this is so mind-boggling, we have to look at the math. The ancient Greeks, like the famous astronomer Hipparchus, understood planetary motions in theory, but translating abstract cosmic geometry into a portable, gear-driven machine is a completely different universe of difficulty. The teeth on these gears weren't cast in molds. They were painstakingly divided and hand-cut from a single sheet of bronze. The gear ratios match complex astronomical cycles with jaw-dropping accuracy. For instance, to calculate the erratic, shifting speed of the moon's orbit caused by its elliptical path, the creators used an ingenious pin-and-slot mechanism. One gear sat slightly off-center on top of another, driving it via a pin. As it rotated, the speed varied, perfectly mimicking the moon's natural acceleration and deceleration. This level of applied engineering and mechanical miniaturization completely shatters our traditional view of the ancient world. In Europe, clockwork technology of this complexity simply did not appear again until the 14th century.
And this brings us to the ultimate mystery. Where are its ancestors? In engineering, complex machines don't just appear out of thin air. There should be prototypes, simpler iterations, and instruction manuals documenting the evolution of gearwork. Yet the Antikythera Mechanism stands entirely alone in the archaeological record, a pinnacle of engineering with no visible past. And even more terrifyingly, it had no future. Shortly after this device was lost at sea, the technology vanished. Why? The answer lies in the fragile nature of ancient knowledge. In the ancient world, highly specialized engineering wasn't written down in mass-produced textbooks. It was kept alive in small, elite workshops. When the Mediterranean was rocked by relentless Roman conquests, shifting power structures, and economic decline, those workshops closed. The master craftsmen were drafted into wars or killed. The trade routes that supplied rare metals collapsed. Within a few generations, the math was forgotten, the skills were unlearned, and the knowledge evaporated into history. The Antikythera Mechanism is a stark, haunting reminder that human progress is not a straight line moving upward. It can plateau, it can stumble, and it can completely regress. If a device this sophisticated could be entirely erased from human consciousness for 2,000 years, it forces us to look at our own history with a deep sense of humility. It leaves us with one final, haunting question. How many other incredible inventions were created, perfected, and then utterly lost to the shadows of time? If you want to dive deeper into the mysteries of ancient technology, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment on what technology you think was lost, and we'll see you in the next video.